Good morning. We will continue with a vindication of the rights of women, the analysis of this work. Now, let us look at the introduction, where we find that there Mary Wollstonecraft is attesting the fact that women ought to be the good and scholarly equivalents of men, but they are in reality debased by the qualities and practices of court society, erroneously sustained by the French Revolution and by the social revolution in England. Thus, in chapter 1, which is titled The Rights and Involved Duties of Mankind Considered, proceeds to show how this bogus gendered culture emerges from false differentiation of class. Wollstonecraft starts by prospering treatise-like terms, announcing that she will return to primary standards, looking for the most basic facts, ask some plain questions and find solutions as unequivocal as the aphorisms on which thinking is found. She, at that point, develops an associated set of such maxims. In the first place, man's preeminence over the beast arises because of reason. Also, the procurement that magnifies one human being over another is virtue. Thirdly, the passions were imparted so that man, by battling with them, may achieve a level of wisdom denied to the animals. Thus, she concludes, quote, consequently, the perfection of our nature and capability of happiness must be estimated by the degree of reason, virtue, and knowledge that distinguish the individual and direct the laws which bind society, unquote. So we can find three attributes that establish the mind in professional culture. After this presentation of philosophical technique, she goes to reason's adversary, prejudice, which depends on incomplete knowledge. There is a logical figure of speech here. Half-way or deficient experience produces inclination or narrow-minded partiality and self-serving social and political gatherings. The foundation of this far-reaching arrangement of partiality is criticized in A Vindication of the Rights of Men as hereditary honors, riches, and monarchy, or court government called civilization. So broad is the awfulness that has spilt out of the framework that men of exuberant sensibility have articulated profanation to justify how a kind of divinity could permit it to exist. She alludes here to Rousseau's notable dismissal of such human advancement for a condition of nature, and finishes up. Rousseau exerts himself to prove that all was right originally. A crowd of authors that all is now right, and that all will be right. She legitimizes her decision from standard Anglican philosophy. And Richard Price's logic, alluding again to the discussion on the motivation behind evil, under an evidently considerate God, quote, that astute being who made us and set us here willed that the passions ought to unfurl our reason, since he could see that current evil would create future great, unquote. The remainder, of course, we can see this kind of contention that Mary Wollstonecraft makes in the first book.